Hassan and the Magical Paper, Journey to a World Without Bees. Abdul Salim. On a sun-drenched attic filled with the smell of old books and cedar, 8-year-old Hassan discovered something extraordinary. Tucked inside a dusty encyclopedia was a sheet of shimmering, golden paper that felt warmer than the afternoon sun. As soon as Hassan traced the embossed patterns of a honeycomb on its surface, the room began to hum with a vibration that made his fingertips tingle. Suddenly, the golden paper released a soft, golden light that enveloped the entire room. The attic walls seemed to melt away into a whirlwind of amber sparkles. Hassan felt himself floating, weightless and spinning, through a tunnel of light. When the spinning finally stopped, he found himself standing in a garden, but it was nothing like the lush, green backyard he knew. The garden was quiet, eerily quiet. There was no buzzing, no chirping, and no rustling of leaves. Hassan looked around and saw a young girl standing near a patch of grayish bushes. She looked sad as she touched a drooping flower. "Hello," Hassan said softly. The girl looked up. "I'm Elara," she whispered. "Welcome to the silent garden." Elara pointed to the trees nearby. Instead of the bright, round apples Hassan loved, the branches held small, lumpy, and brown fruits that looked twisted and shriveled. "The flowers don't know how to grow right anymore," Elara explained, her voice heavy. "Without the pollinators, the fruit grows weak and deformed. These gardens are hungry, Hassan." Further down the path, Hassan saw a man named Kale standing on a tall, rickety ladder. Kale wasn't picking fruit. Instead, he held a tiny paintbrush and was carefully touching the center of one flower, then another. "It takes us all day just to do what the bees did in minutes," Elara told him. Kale looked exhausted, his forehead beaded with sweat. Elara led Hassan to a vast, dusty field where the cucumbers were tiny and the cotton plants were thin and brittle. "Did you know?" Elara asked. "Bees used to pollinate 80% of our favorite crops. Without them, we struggle to grow apples for juice, cucumbers for crunch, and even cotton for the soft shirts you're wearing." Hassan looked at his sleeves, suddenly realizing how much he relied on the tiny insects. They walked into a nearby village and entered a shop owned by a woman named Mira. The shelves, which should have been full of golden honey jars and beeswax candles, were completely bare. "I have no more honey to sweeten the tea," Mira said, gesturing to the empty wood shelves. "And the wax we used for candles and polish is gone forever." Mira reached for a small, half-empty bottle on a high shelf. "The loss of bees isn't just about food," she sighed. "We lost propolis, too, the bee glue that helped us make medicines. Now, when the children get sore throats or seasonal coughs, we have no natural balms to help them heal. Our health is failing because the bees are gone." Hassan walked out of the shop and looked toward the forest. He realized there were no birds nesting in the trees and no squirrels jumping through the branches. The entire ecosystem had collapsed like a house of cards. Without the seeds and fruits the bees helped create, the animals had nothing to eat and had simply vanished into the shadows. Suddenly, a loud, mechanical clackwhir echoed through the air. A heavy, metal object fell from a tree and landed in the dust. Elara picked it up. It was a robot bee with tangled wires and a broken wing. "The scientists tried to replace the bees with these," she said, "but they are too heavy, they break easily, and they can't think for themselves. They were a failure." Hassan gripped the magical paper in his pocket. It began to glow with a fierce, warm light. "I have to go back," he told Elara. "I have to make sure this never happens in my world." Elara smiled sadly and touched his hand. "Tell them our story, Hassan. Tell them that the smallest wings carry the weight of the whole world." With a flash of gold, Hassan was back in his garden. He immediately ran to the shed, but instead of reaching for a bottle of pesticide, he set it aside. Instead, he grabbed a shovel and packets of seeds. By sunset, he had planted rows of purple lavender and bright sunflowers. "No more poison," he whispered as a real, fuzzy bumblebee landed on a clover. "I'll keep the world buzzing."